Welcome to the REI Foundation Podcast, where we cover all the steps and strategies to make your real estate dreams a reality. Now your hosts, Jason and Peely.
Hi, everybody, and welcome again to the REI Foundation Podcast with Jason and Peely. Today, we welcome Adam Adams. Welcome, Adam.
Hey, thank you guys so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
And a little bit about Adam. Adam's parent company is Blue Spruce, and it has a number of companies involved, and it's just amazing what you're doing here. We actually have a technology-based brokerage company, a hard money lending company, of course, the Creative Real Estate Podcast, which stems from Blue Spruce Creative Real Estate Solutions, which helps homeowners out of foreclosure. And he also has Blue Spruce Apartment Holdings, which tackles all kinds of apartment acquisitions. So welcome to the show, Adam. Really appreciate you being on with us. And give us a little bit about how you got started in real estate.
You know, honestly, I got started in real estate because of my father. So he owns storage units. He's always had rentals, and we did a lot of, I guess you did like a fix and flip, but you live there. So kind of like a house hack. So we would move into a place, and then we'd put up walls, redo some electricity, and then move out and rent that out. So it was kind of normal. I always thought that everybody did that. So, and my dad made me read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which hopefully everybody's heard of. And if they haven't, they should probably pick it up. It changes your life, or at least it did for me. So in 2005, my start in real estate was a tax deed. So I bought it for $100 with my dad, with his money. And we sold it for $12,000, and I got to keep all the proceeds. So that was a lot of fun. He does tax deeds, but he usually just holds on to them. So I wouldn't know how many properties he has right now, because he picks up a couple of each year, it seems like. But that was really my start into real estate, is through my dad.
Awesome. Awesome, wow. Father.
Well, yeah, it's a great start. It's always nice. And you've taken it and now transitioned into your own formats. So give us something that he sounds like an amazing mentor. Has he still been helping you through the process, or are you still leaning back and I'm talking about ideas, talking about directions you go? Or we all work in family businesses, so we know how it can be on both sides.
Yeah. So I'm very much a teenager at heart. I think that I do everything right, and my dad doesn't, even though he's very, very successful. Whenever he gives me real estate advice, I go the opposite direction. So who I think is kind of like my mentor, who kept me going, and even though I don't talk to him on a regular basis anymore, it's the ideas that he taught me that really have gotten me going. So after reading that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I decided that, I'm going to start my own businesses. I'm going to own some apartment buildings. And so I got my start by calling as many apartment building owners as possible and saying, I want to be your property manager. I want to live on the property. I want free rent, and I want to manage your place for at least a year. And this guy named Reed Quinn said that would be fine. Out in Orem, Utah, between BYU and Utah Valley University, two of the biggest universities out there. I started managing his 18-plex, his 4-plex, and one of his condos. And we repositioned his 18-plex in that 1 year. I think that he bought it for around $2 million, and he ended up selling it for more than $4 million. So his net profit in his pocket was well over $1 million. And he taught me everything. Like I would go into his house and sit down with him and learn all of these little intricate details of his mind. He's one of the smartest people I've ever met. He just bought a giant apartment complex 2 years ago, all for cash. And it was in Salt Lake City, Utah. So I can't imagine. It must have been like $150 million all in cash. He doesn't have a loan on it because he doesn't believe in that kind of stuff. But he's an incredible person. And whenever I try to make a real estate choice, I think of Reed and like, what would he be doing? And that helps me a lot, honestly.
Wow, it's fantastic action taking. I mean, for all of our listeners out there, take this from just what he said. all you did was call people and take that action to call people who were already doing it. You found a mentor and somebody who gave you the tools to do exactly what you wanted to do. So kudos to that. That's a great start. Wow.
And give us a golden nugget from him that you still take today.
You know what? Everybody talks about lowering expenses, how it can increase a property's value. But I mean, in apartment buildings, we're talking right now in apartment buildings. You know, and it's so hard to see that. But whenever I think about like Reed Quinn, he was like, you got to cut this, you got to cut this. And I was like, how am I going to do this? And I was like, okay, so I cut all these costs for him and of course raise some rents. But that's the golden nugget. Like, there is a lot of people think that how you reposition a property, a apartment building or whatever, something commercial, is that you just raise rents, but cutting costs can be just as effective and very, very easy. And it goes on for years. So I don't want to get too, I don't know how long your podcast is, but anyway.
We love it. We love multifamily. We love everything you're doing with it. And we agree wholeheartedly. So yeah, thank you. It takes note though that you just got out there and took action. There's so many people that just stand on the sidelines, just waiting for something to come at them. And just taking that point where you were asking, and another point to take it is that you weren't asking for anything except to go out there and help someone. And with that, you got all this point come back. And that stands out because people are always, I need a mentor to help me through this or help that. But if you go out there and help somebody else tackle what they're doing, you're going to learn a ton. You're going to have new opportunities open up for you. And you may even just find a mentor. So yeah, that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
So what was your mindset? What was it that allowed you, Adam, mentally to do that? Because a lot of people can't get over their mindset. So what was your mindset to get into that action taking?
To be honest, that's always kind of been a part of me. And it might have been, mother instilling in my heart and my brain that, Adam, you can do whatever like you want, whatever is in your heart, you can focus on it and get it done. I don't know if like I've always been there, or it's because my mom told me that, but I do believe it. And I mean, I believe it wholeheartedly. I believe that any human being out there, anyone listening to this podcast, like if you want to buy 10,000 units in the next 10 years of apartment buildings, there's no problem with that. I think you just take whatever your goal is, and then start to like think of all of the details of what that looks like to have 10,000 units, and then just work backwards. Who do I need to meet? What do I need to know? What do I need to wear? All this random stuff, like what groups do I need to join? Where will I be? What will I look like? What will I have? And then just make all of those details happen. And I really believe, like, whatever your goal is, like, that it is way easier than you think. You just have to be conscious about it. So
that's amazing.
And that's a great lead into your businesses today, right? You have the hard money business, you have the apartment business, you have the home solutions business, you have the podcast. How have you basically set your goal and now built it back to be able to juggle all those hats productively?
Okay, so the biggest part is a team, because it would be terrible if I was trying to do this by myself. I could maybe do a tenth of it. But okay, so with your hard money lending company, it was way easier than it sounds, right? So we have millions and millions and millions and maybe even hundreds of millions right now that we can lend to people if they're doing a fix and flip. And we can do it in a lot of states. And like, that's not in my bank account, so I had to think and adapt and offer solutions to bigger companies that have hundreds of millions of liquid capital, and just say, like, how can I help you guys put this money to use? So And then I had to negotiate, well, let's do it a line of credit, and I only pay you interest when I borrow. And so, you know, they guaranteed that they'd always have hundreds of millions. And I guaranteed that I would, you know, do my best to look at the deal and underwrite the deal, walk it myself, give them, you know, all the details that they need. So if they ever put, you know, 500 grand into a house here in Denver to be fix and flip, that their money will be safe and protected, that the other person have skin in the game. So it was just kind of like, what do I want? How much money do I want to have? Who do I need to talk to? And how can I offer a solution so that it could be a win-win. So it's like that with every company, right? Like, I don't even have a real estate license, but ever since I got into real estate, I knew I was going to own a brokerage. I had a feeling I was going to own a brokerage. It was going to be big. It would be national. And I wondered, like, if I don't want to do the work of getting a real estate license, how could I ever become a managing broker? How could I ever do that? And so we reverse engineered it and said, who can we offer an opportunity to that's willing to be ahead of a giant, you know, real estate brokerage? And right now, today, we only have like 2 reps, right? And they own the part of the company, but at the same time, I guarantee if somebody's listening to this in 15 years, in 2030 or whatever, like, Blue Spruce will be around the entire nation, right? But
awesome.
I mean, we're reverse engineering that by saying, what do I not have? Who do I need to talk to? And how can I offer them something that it gives them enough of an incentive to say, yeah, let's do this together. So, I mean, we could go on, but
yeah, no,
I love you talking about your brokerage, because I am also a realtor. So just you looking into the future and seeing that Blue Spruce is going to be nationwide, it's going to be international. That's amazing to me. That's such awesome goal setting.
Yeah, if you have your mind made up, it's already done, right? So,
it is.
Right. Yeah. And so let's take this one step further. You have these businesses. Did you start them all at the same time, or start with one? And if you started with one, at what point do you decide that you're ready to start the next?
All right. Do what I say, not what I do.
Fair.
I started them all about the same time.
Okay.
And, you know, we've been growing pretty good. I've had to pull a lot of resources out of Blue Spruce Creative Home Solutions. So we are running a podcast, and we do have a few different meetup groups that meet weekly. So those things are going, and we just sold our last 3 fix and flips this last 2 months. And so we have some money in the bank finally. But that company doesn't do a whole lot. Like, we don't have a lot of resources to it, but we are keeping the word out by having a podcast that teaches creative real estate solutions, and by having meetup groups that are free, that mostly right now are in Denver. One might be starting in Ohio pretty soon, Northeast Ohio, but that's kind of what's going on in that company. But we've put all of our resources to the holdings company to buy apartment buildings, because we tried to do it with one person. Then we were like, okay, 2 people. All right, 3 people. And you guys do this too. And for anybody, do it with, we just picked up our 9th full-time person. And like, I still feel like everyone in the office is too busy. So I would not say start them all at the same time. I would rather, I'd rather do anything else. Start one, get it going, make it successful, and then start the next one. But yeah, I'm just kind of massaging all of the companies as well as I can to keep them growing and keep our name out in front of people. And I know that they'll all be like be changing in like 5 years. But yeah, I don't sleep very much, so
we feel it.
I wouldn't recommend it. Sleeping anyway, you know that. You're an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs don't sleep.
Yeah. So we actually don't focus on hiring much, but let's touch on it real quick, because you built your team so quickly. How are you finding people that are right for your team so quickly and putting them to work? And
Okay.
Maybe it's a little harder point, but are you bringing them in on commission basis to go on sales, or just a quick touch on this? Just
almost everybody's on commission.
Got it.
So that's the first thing. And the second thing is I don't reach out to people because of the meetup groups. And I'm sure you guys could experience the exact same thing by having a podcast. You probably have a lot of people that reach out to you and say, what can I do? How can I be part of your team? I'll do it for free. I'll do it for this. How can I add value? But when you're kind of out there and doing things and people see that, I think that they'll generally come to you. And so I've never said I'm hiring for this or anything yet. It's just like those people that are the squeaky wheels that are seriously, Adam, I want to work with you. And I'll say, I'll try to come up with a plan of all right, what are you good at? What could you take off of our admin's plate? What could you take off of my plate? And so the way that I've been doing it is just to try to ask somebody who already wants to work with me, give me your whole bio and let me just try to put you into a position that would fit your strengths, that the rest of us don't have to worry about. But almost everybody will be partnering on the next deal, everybody's working. And then when we close on the next apartment complex, everybody will get 15% of what our company would have or something like that. So
awesome. That's incredible.
Nice.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Great.
Yeah.
So what is a problem or well, it's not called a problem. What's a challenge you're working on right now that you're either past or you're a learning point or something you're dealing with in your business that you're trying to make better?
One way you're failing big.
Yeah. We fail big every day.
Nice.
We've been failing big since the beginning. I know I'll fail again tomorrow and it'll be big. But I guess the way I get through all challenges is just keeping the vision alive. It is always seeing where we will be and just you go through it or around it, under it, over it, or you just turn around and find it and just say it's not worth it. We'll go on the path of least resistance. Right now, I mean, we had a syndication that we thought every dime was raised, and then a couple people went from 60,000 to 50,000, or somebody pulled out and said, hey, I want to be in your next deal, and so we have it where it's fully funded now, but we raised it to 101%, barely over what we needed, and then we had to raise another 50 grand, so that was interesting. And how we solved that is just by making a couple more phone calls. And it's a 506B, which basically means we can't advertise it. We can't bring in anybody but somebody we already have a good relationship with. And I was getting worried because I was like, you know what, who do we know that has money? I thought we talked to them all. So
we've been there. Yeah. So that's great. But yeah, it's a common story that you overraise because you will be surprised on all these life events that happen for people that they just can't get to the finish line, but they will be in the next one. But yeah, that's great advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what is your big why?
My biggest why is a legacy. Some people, I mean, I have kids and I want them to be happy and healthy and have everything that they need all their life, whether I'm dead or alive. But what really keeps me going is changing the way people think about real estate, what's possible in real estate. So having a legacy that will stay with me, I want Adam Adams to be this thing where oh, that guy, he was a really good guy, he did all these things in the city and he changed this, and nobody would have gotten into apartment syndications if they didn't go to his meetup group or something random like that. So that's my main focus every day.
Sounds like your big focus is just to give back.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I would ask where you're going to be in 5 years, but that will probably be company 73. So let's just start. What's in the pipeline right now? So,
so we have 142 units in, I think it's called Paducah, Kentucky, the west part of Kentucky that we're looking at. We have 209 in Houston. We have 56 in, it's just outside of Corpus Christi in Sinton. And we have one other that came in today. Those are what we're looking at. Those meet our Holy Trinity of 8% cap rates and 12% cash on cash and 1.6 debt ratio. So those all meet what we're looking for. And so we just need to close on them. we just need to raise money and not do any more of these small family, the B. I'm sign languaging you guys. I don't know if you know sign language. Sorry. Well, anyways, we just need to do the B's and or do the C's instead, where we can kind of reach out to more people and hopefully offer them a return that makes sense.
Awesome. You mentioned the Holy Trinity of what you look for. Could you expand on that just a little bit so our listeners can?
Yeah. The best way to remember the Holy Trinity is 8, 12, 16, because it just goes by fours. So an 8 cap, which basically means that your net operating income is, how detailed do we need to go? So all of your expenses, all of your income, except for your mortgage and your depreciation, what's left over should be 8% every year of what your purchase price was. So it has to meet that, which is hard right now, but we find a few of them. And then the 12% cash on cash basically means, like, once you've done that, and then you include whatever if you have no mortgage on it, then and it's an 8 cap, then you're having an 8% cash on cash. So that's easy. But if you can get a mortgage on it, you can raise your cash on cash to 10, 12, or 15, or even 20%. So by utilizing perhaps like a HUD loan that you only have to put down 15% down, and the interest rate's really, really low, your cash on cash might be even higher. But we go for a minimum of 12% so we can give our investors something that's healthy. And then the 1.6 debt service coverage ratio is basically saying that if your net operating income is $100,000 at the end of the year, and your mortgage is $100,000 at the end of the year, you have a 100 debt service ratio. That you're paying exactly your debt coverage. So most lenders need 1.2, 1.25, or sometimes a little higher. So to feel safe for us and for our investors, we want to have 160% of what our mortgage costs us at the end of the year. So basically, if the mortgage is $10,000 a month, which is $12,000 a year, we just need to times 12,000 by 1.6, and that has to be our NOI, our net operating income.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Great information.
And
Thank you.
Going across the nation here, 2 quick questions, because everybody's saying there's no deals out there. So how are you finding your deals? And then you're in areas like Paducah, Kentucky, which I actually randomly know. And how do you know if you're on the wrong side of the tracks in the right school system? How do you know where you are in that particular market?
Awesome. So there's a lot of information. Like, this could be a seminar instead of a podcast.
Yeah. Two quick points, and because these are awesome points. I know
one of the best things to look at is to see if the city's growing. So a 2% year over year would be an awesome thing to see. So if you can find a 2% year over year for 1 or even 2 years in a row, I think that's the first way to say that you're in a good area. Schools matter. I think schools matter, but if you can see that track history of it growing, I think that's probably the best way to know if you're going to be successful in that area. Yeah. Also job diversification. So what kind of jobs are coming there? Like, I was listening to some radio thing this morning, talk radio, and they said I'm trying to remember. I thought that I was going to remember this city, maybe because I'm on the spot, I forgot it. But they just said that a company is going to be bringing in 10,000 jobs in this certain city. Oh, Pittsburgh. And I own a bunch of houses in Youngstown, which is like 30 minutes west of Pittsburgh in Ohio.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that jumps my Rust Belt properties up a little bit. So
nice.
I think at any rate, Pittsburgh, it looks like they're bringing in a bunch of jobs right now. So when you find that stuff, it's good to get in ahead of time and say, all right, it looks like there's going to be some change here. And for every one job that company brings in, it typically can do 3 to 10 other jobs depending on the income of that first company that's coming in. So if you see something like Pittsburgh's bringing in 10,000 jobs in this one company, you can pretty much say maybe that's 30,000 or 100,000 jobs over the next few years. So
that's
anyway,
awesome. It's great. That's great. Thank you. And marketing wise, are you mailing like you would for homeowners or?
No, no. We did a lot of mail pieces, and we are terrible at answering the phones for mail pieces. So we kind of have a big team of people throughout the country right now that find us on social media marketing, free organic social media. This is a good tip. This is a great tip, actually, and I don't know why I'm sharing this, but I think it will help a lot of people. It'll obviously hurt my company, but that's okay.
Only if you only got to take it though.
It's okay.
You need those action takers out there that are going to do it. So everybody.
That's so true.
Yep.
So true. So what you all need to do is go to the markets that you want to go to, right? Envision where do you want to be, and then join all the Facebook groups in that area, in that city. So Dallas or wherever you want to be, Paducah, Kentucky.
Okay.
So join all the Facebook groups in that area. Join all of the people that are around there, and then start telling them what you do. But actually, I reverse that. Start asking them what they do. Ask them how you can help them. But by that, they're going to ask you. It's reciprocal. They're going to ask you, what do you do? And you say, I just buy apartments. And they're like, what? And so then you just kind of get into it, and they're like, I'll find you a deal. So as we kind of keep doing that, and we just let people know we just want it, if it's off market, I mean, maybe in our office there's 9 people, but like how many people are sincerely trying to make Blue Spruce successful is innumerable. Like they're all over the place right now, and it's because of it's a large campaign on social media through Facebook, through Bigger Pockets, through going on Craigslist, and just being everywhere in their area. And then they kind of look at you. I've had people, because of this, that I all of a sudden, and this has happened at least 3 times, I'm talking to somebody and they're like, wow, you're out in Denver. It sounds like you're doing big things. I got this really good connection for you. I can tell you who you need to talk to out there. This is the biggest company throughout all of Denver, which we're not, which we are, I mean. and then they're like, yeah, it's called Blue Spruce. Have you heard of them? And I'm like, yep. And so anyway, that's hopefully a lot of people, that if they're the type of person that are action takers, get out there, join Bigger Pockets, all the Facebook groups in the areas where you want to be, and start answering questions, responding to people, and you'll turn into this expert where I don't have to call any brokers, and I have 5 or 6 8 caps that I'm looking at right now, and every other apartment investor that I talk to say you can't find them. So
that is amazing pieces of information right there. People, rewind or hit the back button, whatever contraption we need to do on computers these days, and listen to what Adam just said. Like, that was golden. Like,
and if we're going to really put you on the spot, because that was like awesome advice, but if you were a brand new real estate investor today, and you might even be able to use, I mean, you could definitely use the same advice there, but what's an actionable step you would take today to get started in real estate? Maybe if this was the first podcast they listened to, and what would be something you would do?
I mean, social media is great for a brand new real estate investor, but I'd say do more than one thing. go to your local meetup groups. And it's important, it's really very important to know that when you're networking with people, it doesn't really matter what you do when you're shaking hands and talking to somebody. It really doesn't matter what you have done, what you haven't done, what you can do. Forget about yourself for a while and just ask a lot of questions. Get to know somebody on a deeper level. If you have 100 cards at the end of the day and none of them know your name, that's not going to do you any good. But if you have 2 cards and they both are like, that Adam, he's a real good guy, because I spent the time to get involved and to understand that you're from Hawaii, that, all of this kind of stuff. Like, when that happens, a connection happens. When you understand somebody, a connection happens. And it doesn't matter how successful I am or what I have done or what I haven't done. Maybe you'll want to work with me. Maybe we'll say, hey, let's see if Adam has another 8 cap. Let's partner up on it or whatever, because we have something a little bit more than me just trying to say, I can buy apartments or whatever. Again, 2 ears, 1 mouth, use them accordingly. When you talk to people, ask a lot of questions, get to know them, and you'll be able to probably they'll say something and you can just like strike. And by strike, I don't mean a negative thing. Like, you can say, hey, let me help you with that. You're having a problem with this. What can I do? And be sincere about it. So I would do a lot of stuff, social media and in person, but I would spend more time understanding somebody, who they are, so that you can have a real relationship with them. So
that's great. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow.
So, a few more questions before we let you go.
Okay.
Do you have a morning routine?
I usually get my kids. I wake up about. I snooze at. Sorry, my phone came. Somebody was calling me. Okay, I snooze at 6:45. I snooze again at 7. I get out of bed stressed at 7:15, and then I wake up my kids, give them some food, put some snacks in their bag, send them off at 8:01. They're on the bus, and I'm driving down the hill. I live in Conifer, which is in the mountains of Denver. Well, not of Denver, but Colorado. I'll drive to the office. I usually get here about 9, and it's just talking to my team. There's no real good morning. Everybody reads and prays and meditates. I just like, I snooze and snooze and snooze and then rush to work. But I do it happily.
Good. Well, happily is the key, right? So if your mind's exactly. Right.
And the thing is, that is a great morning routine. You get to take your kids to school, or you get to have that time with them. And that's amazing. That's amazing.
What are some words you live by?
I didn't see that on your thing yet. Words I live by. It is persistence and determination are omnipotent. So when I got my only tattoo, it's a symbol from Maori, a symbol from Hawaii, and a symbol from Tonga. And one of them means persistence, one means determination, the other one means endless potential or omnipotence. So I live by that.
That's great.
Nice.
That's
great words.
And where can people reach out and say hello to you?
I am on Bigger Pockets. I'm not too active. You can find me on Facebook, Adam AAA Adams. It's spelled out randomly. And then on regular social media, it's AAA, but AAA Invests, AAA Invests. You can find that like on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. Or if you want to send me a personal email, Adam at real estate Blue Spruce, the realbluespruce.com. So
perfect. I'm actually going to take that question one more step further, because I know you have a brokerage, and I know you have you're also a hard money lender. So if there are other investors out there that are looking for hard money, first, what states do you lend in, and how can they love you for that?
Or maybe what site would show where they lend, so you don't have to list
148 states. So for the hard money lending company, that's the newest one, and so there's not a site yet. But John Beasley runs the hard money lending company, and you can reach out to him at john@realbluespruce.com. For now, I mean, we can lend nationally technically, but I'd rather just do Denver Metro for 2018 all throughout 2018, Denver Metro only. But after that, we'll hopefully be a little bit bigger. Spruce.com. And I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, just
one more time. We lost you there for a second.
Oh, sorry, John at realbluespruce.com. Real like real estate, blue the color, and spruce the tree.
Well, this has been hugely inspirational.
Yes.
Awesome. Everything you're doing. Thank you so much for coming on. It's just
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
congratulations on all your successes. I can't wait to talk to you again in the future to see where all your companies have gone to. So thank you so much.
Great. Thanks for your guys' time. We'll see you later.
See you later.
Bye.
So this is the REI Foundation podcast with Jason and Peely. Thank you again to Adam, and thank you again to everyone out there for listening. We're so grateful. Talk to you later. Bye now.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning into the REI Foundation podcast. Check back next time for more awesome tips and strategies to launch your new you in real estate.